Hello everyone, I'm in the pit lane at Misano as you can see, and the first morning of the first day testing has come to an end after some practice starts. I was here at 7:45 this morning like some strange guy hanging outside the garages making sure I missed nothing, and in the beginning, I'll be honest, I was pretty disappointed because nobody had anything new. But that totally makes sense because you need your riders after a day off to get up to speed. A lot more for some of the test riders than a day off, and a lot more for Marc Marquez. So the first couple of hours were mainly people getting up to speed before we started seeing some new things. And I think the first thing we saw new was Morbidelli and Quartararo heading out on what I think is a new machine, because the chassis is slightly different and we know the engine's going to be, but I can't see that. And they did at least 2 runs on that new machine and then jumped back on, so they're doing some comparison. Visibly, there's not much else to see on the Yamaha. The chassis is slightly different. I can tell the difference. A little flat spot is on the machine they're racing this year, and it's not on the newer one. Morbidelli's is very clear to see because it's unpainted. But then the Honda, the garage's doors have just come down, so we can't see anything there, sorry, but it's probably been the most interesting because, first of all, Marc back on the bike. As I said, he got up to speed, and then we saw some, he rode a couple of different bikes, but when we saw some new parts, and the Honda parts so far have been the most interesting. The front wing, which is a little bit similar to what we saw, I saw something similar in Qatar, but it's also very similar to the Aprilia front wing. But more interesting is they have, you know, the bottom fairing of the Ducati, it's on the belly pan and a little round thing that scoops the air in and pushes it down, and we think it helps turning. Honda have got more or less a copy of that. They're running on their machine. And then I saw Bradl head out on what we heard rumoured yesterday was coming, a Kalex, I think it's a Kalex aluminium swing arm. So he tested that. He also tested the front wing. Haven't seen him with that Ducati copy belly. What else? I would like to move on probably to KTMs and the Aprilias. With the Aprilia, we haven't seen much new yet. We know their bike's really good, really close. And I've heard there's new aero coming, but it hasn't made it to the garage yet. I've heard it's coming to Salvador first, and then if it works, comes to the factory Aprilia box. The other thing about Aprilia is I've spotted one different chassis for Maverick and did a bit of digging, and apparently it's not different in any other way than weight saving. It's meant to be the same stiffness, same geometry, but a little bit lighter. So let's move on. Yeah, we haven't seen anything else new for Aprilia. KTM, they've got their test rider Danny Pedrosa here, as well as the Tech 3 rookies, which don't seem to have anything new, and the factory guys. There's not a lot new yet, but what I'm thinking it is they make sure they've run through everything with the bikes they normally run before, and they're up to speed before we see the new stuff. And I believe there is some new stuff coming, maybe quite extreme, but I will keep an eye out. Danny Pedrosa has 2 different chassis, like 2 machines, different chassis on each one. So probably next would be to mention, well, getting back to Honda, Marc looks good. You know what I mean? He looks happy. He's done a good. He started late. I think track temperature up, it's safer, and he's probably not going to have the physical condition to run for the whole day. So why not start when it's safer temperatures and use that race sort of time of the day to get the best info, you know. It might not be as fast in that temperature, but this is the best info. So we can't miss there's nothing new at Suzuki, which is pretty well expected. And that is pretty much it. that I've seen here? No, Ducati. Can't miss them out. The reason I almost did miss them out is there's nothing really visible on the bikes that are new. We know they're playing, especially with Pero, with new things. Ducati's traditional way of doing it, I believe it'll still be the same because it's working, is that Pero tries the new engine. He tries new different parts, and it will be at the end of the season that we'll see the machine, all those parts together on one bike. One thing I have seen that's really interesting with Ducati, and I'm going to do some more digging, is the clutch lever on Zarco's bike, who is known as their test guy, and Pero, who is their test guy. The clutch lever has a cover on it with a bunch of cables going in there, and to me it looks like they're working on some sort of launch control. So GG never sleeps. Please keep an eye out, because same time tomorrow I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more info for you, because this afternoon and tomorrow morning we're bound to see the new stuff roll out of the garage. Until then, bye for now.